Welcome to Chaotic Harmony. My name is John.
This is Crystal. We talk about the joys and the challenges of teaching music in the elementary school classroom.
We share struggles, we brainstorm solutions.
And we would love to have you join us.
Welcome to another episode of Chaotic Harmony. Crystal,
Hi.
It's good to see you.
Hi, John.
Hey. It's been a while since I've actually, not even just this podcast, seen you.
I know.
Oh, it's been a busy. How's your quarter? How's your quarter been?
I feel like it has been nonstop. Honestly, there's been very little time to breathe. It's just a constant putting out of fires at school. So things have been difficult, but also good. Growth is happening. Learning is occurring. We're making it together.
Things are happening.
Things are happening. Yes.
Okay.
Behaviors are skyrocketing. So I know I'm the only teacher in the world.
I feel like you're on your own
issues.
on that one.
I know, right?
No one else is having that.
Oh my goodness. Does anybody else out there feel like the behaviors that the children are exhibiting are just getting, like, they have to be reaching a summit at some point, is what I feel like.
I mean, so I know this is not our talk of the show, but
it's not.
But we can. I mean, we did a whole episode on this.
One.
Like, actually, the last episode was on this,
right?
And I think I've had to reflect on this a lot because, like, when before COVID, I was a beginning teacher, and now I'm not, and I feel like the difficulty is about the same as far as my own perception goes. Because back then I was a beginning teacher, but things were easy. I would say, like, things are different now.
Yeah,
and like I think there's many factors. But yeah, it's at a different level. I'm like, wait, what's going on?
Okay, so I'm going to liken this to a book I'm reading, and we've already talked about my choice of literature on this podcast before.
Oh yeah, just can you fill in the details for some people who aren't here?
You can judge me, and I'm fine with that. So this book is really great. It's called "This Quest is Bullshite," and it's set in, like, the video game world, and so it's a minor character in a video game, and everybody in this book is, like, waiting for their life quest. And so this person is waiting, and they finally find out what it is, and it's a super lame quest. It's like her whole life purpose is she has to go to the next town and get a loaf of bread. That's her entire life quest. But the the difficulty level is stuck on legendary.
Okay.
And so it's just a whole series of absurd things that happen to this character. I'm thoroughly enjoying this book. I think you'd actually really like it too.
Ah, cool.
Yeah.
By
and
who?
You know what? I can't remember, but I will put it in the show notes. I know, or I'll Google it really fast, but it's really
good. What's
the
title of this book again?
This Quest is Bullshit. Am I allowed to say that?
I mean, it's like
the actual word.
Oh, it's the actual word. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, we can just Sandra it out.
This quest is bull beep.
There we go.
There you go. Fill in the blank. Okay. And it's part of a trilogy, and the name of the trilogy is This Trilogy is Broken. And it is. Oh, and it's also it's a 4-book trilogy. Okay. Like The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, kind of, because that's also a 4-book trilogy. By J.P. Valentine.
By that point, you don't call them trilogies.
Well, that's the point, dude.
Okay.
It's a joke.
I don't know the meta of this.
It's a joke. It's like that super like off the wall humor. So
okay.
I embrace a lot of different genres, but sometimes I just want a book that makes me laugh.
Smut.
Oh, I love smut. We've talked about this. This, I wouldn't put this under that category at all.
Okay,
there's a little bit of romance, but that's not the point of the book. Sure. So I'm thoroughly enjoying it. Anyway, the reason I bring that up is I was thinking about it as things that were like, get the children in line so that we can walk about 30 feet from my classroom to the playground in a quiet line, because we're testing right now. Like, the difficulty was stuck on legendary with that task today. I just, for the life of me, could not get them quiet.
I will add on, though, I call this the quarter 4 squirrelies. Like, it doesn't, like, regardless of pre or post COVID, like that's a thing. And so I'm sure it's a mixture of both.
Yes.
But I know that, like behavior is just different nowadays.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah,
behavior is different nowadays. Yeah. Getting the kids to listen is just a different difficulty level. It's like the quest has not changed.
I will expound upon that. Like, not just getting kids to listen, but getting kids to empathize with each other. I think that's also another element, and like the deeper root.
Adults.
We should. I've loved how we've interviewed now 2 people Michelle Chan, and then your friend during COVID. Who's your friend during COVID?
Which one?
Therapist?
Oh, Noelle Vittor.
Noelle, yes. So
Yeah.
I think we should revisit this. It'd be good for us to get an outside perspective.
If you listeners, if you have a suggestion for a mental health professional that we should interview, I would love your suggestions.
I have someone, but we'll talk afterwards.
Yeah, I have someone in mind too, but I'm just curious, especially for our listeners in other parts of the country. If you're outside of Southern California, I would be really interested to hear a perspective of someone kind of outside our little bubble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of bubbles, Michelle.
I know. That was a great episode.
That was a really good episode. So for you lately, it's been like
it's just
managing the tornadoes.
Yes. And I'm exhausted.
I'm sorry to hear that.
That's okay. I mean, it's kind of what we sign up for, but also like, holy moly.
It's a different,
It's a different world. How are you?
I'm doing well, actually. It's a lot. There's a lot going on. We just finished our Vapa Festival, which was very different this year. If you're unaware or a new listener, Vapa Festival is something that started back in 2018, where we decided that we don't want to focus on competition. We want to have our district come together and collaborate together.
Especially for an elementary school.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. Like gold is nice, but you know what's better?
Community. Yeah.
And so we like this year it was small. Last year was massive.
Yes.
I think we had 24 groups, be it either pre-recorded or in person. This year
and the concert was 3 hours long.
It was long.
Don't do that to your families.
I felt bad. And so Mark took the reins this year, and we decided to split it into 2 nights. It was supposed to be I believe it's supposed to be 11 in-person groups and then 4 online recorded groups. We ended up being 3 pre-recorded and 8 between 2 nights. Oh, wow. And, it was good. It was smooth. Good. It was nice. I went to both nights. I was there supporting the first night, the second night. My kids performed. And it was one thing I really loved was that we were once again having our kids watch the other groups, and that really just nailed the deal, sold the deal, something the
sealed
deal.
The deal.
Sealed
is the general.
We're recording on a work night, so
our brains are gone. We've been playing whack-a-mole all day. Yes.
And so that's been that, and then I'm getting ready for my spring music concert, and something that's really cool is that Jasandra and I are going to do a combined concert. And so her kids are coming to my school, and they're going to bring their ukulele club and also their an orphan ensemble. And due to something new that's in California called LEAD, from the ELLP, like there's been a lot of money towards after school groups. So there are 2 groups that I'm not teaching, music groups at Casillas that I'm not teaching. There's an ukulele club. And also a Philippine folk group. And ironically, actually, none of them are being paid through LEAD. Philippine folk group is being paid through a different funding, and the ukulele club is being brought in by retired teachers that just wanted to help out. So it's going to be a full night, and I'm like...
That's cool.
I'm looking forward to it. But,
it'll be fun.
Meanwhile, the teaching days, you're right. It's a lot. Like lots going on. It's like
a lot.
Like I am just taking one foot at a time, going forward, and
one drag at a time.
Sometimes a drag, sometimes a lift, sometimes just a something. I don't even know where my face landed, but something.
Yeah. Yesterday, my son who plays Little League, it was a really intense game, and the first base coach told him to run to second, and so he did. But then he called him back. No, come back! And so Parker didn't quite gracefully turn fast enough, and he totally ate it. And then he just with a giant smile on his face, dramatically crawled back to first base.
Was he safe?
Yeah, he was fine. Okay. Barely, though.
It doesn't matter if his leg popped off. He was safe. It's all that matters.
Right? He made it. It was just so dang funny. And I'm like, that's how I'm dragging.
Well, it's for better and for worse, because I feel like the thing about concert season is that, for better and for worse, the nice part is you got 4 weeks left. Is it 4 weeks? I think it's 4 weeks.
I think it's 5. It doesn't matter. The end is in sight. We can taste the summer. It's right there.
For better, it's 4.5 weeks. Yeah. For worse, concerts and less.
I know. It's just stacked. I know. We also have an art night coming up, and we also have 2 groups at Finney that are through LEAD that I am not teaching, which is really cool.
Which groups?
Ukulele Club, and then San Diego Children's Choir is running an after-school choir, which is awesome.
Who's teaching the ukulele club?
Miss Showman. I don't know if you know her. She won Teacher of the Year last year, and she went pretty far up.
Okay.
And she's awesome. Cool. Shout out to Melissa Shulman. I absolutely love her. She's amazing.
Awesome.
Yeah. She does a lot of art and music integration in her classroom.
Okay. So she's a general ed teacher in your school.
Yeah. Gotcha. She actually shares walls with my art teacher. She's great.
I'm trying to... Okay, so on the other side.
Like a classroom wall. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Oh, on that side. Oh, wait, was her kids the one that was featured in the VAP Festival?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. On the video.
Yes, it was.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Solid
which
kids.
we should link to because that's a beautiful video.
Thank you.
Yeah. Jonathan did an incredible job on the videos. So even though you weren't planning the whole VAPA festival, your video editing skills are just getting better and better. And he really showcased them. And what I love about how Jonathan tells the story is he just really thinks hard about not only how to weave everything together, so it's really engaging to watch. The shots are really artistic, and then he really puts a lot of thought into the background music too. And it's fun. And I like how Finney's always super hippie because we be hippie.
Oh yeah. And also
we are flower children.
Your kids just did a great job. Oh, yeah, Stacey's kids, but your kids, Finney's kids,
Yeah.
And Stacey had a really good lesson to showcase.
Yeah. It was a cool one.
Yeah, but it's something I've noticed also this year. So I've been out. I was out today because I was helping out with my induction mentor. And so a sub came in and I talked with her for a bit because she was taking over the second half of the day. And she says, "Yeah, this is my first time subbing." I was like,
oh no.
Okay. I remember that. Yeah. And I felt bad because I found out later I gave her the wrong room number for her to pick up the kids.
Oh no.
And the way my school is set up, like room 701, 2, 3 is on one side of the school. 4, 5, 6 are on the other side.
Oh, that's not nice.
No, it was a very big goof, and I really do apologize. If for some reason you're listening to this podcast, I apologize. Substitute in the year of our Lord 2024,
Please don't
April
hate
29th.
Me. Yeah.
But she was sharing how this is her first subbing position. And I asked her, so like, when did you get your, like, she's pursuing her master's at the moment. And like, she said she got her, she finished her undergrad in 2022. It's like, my knees just cracked a bit.
I know, right?
And I'm noticing more and more that we're having a lot of younger teachers. Like, we are not the youngs anymore. We are the old guard.
We are the seasoned.
We're decrepit. We're like,
oh, thanks. Appreciate that.
It's a we. It's
it's
not a me moment. Okay. It's a we moment. but jokes aside, and also I recognize there are a lot older teachers out there. I do. But there is a new wave of teachers. A lot of great people. It's one of the best things I like about being induction mentors. You get to talk and interact with like the young folk. Like you mentioned, you listeners have probably met Cassandra and Aaliyah. We talked about them. There's a lot of great stuff that's happening, and I was thinking, like, even though I'm not as seasoned as other teachers, this is my 9th year, going on my 10th soon. Like, I think it'd be cool to just like share our thoughts. You've been teaching for how long again? 15, was it?
This is 16.
16.
I know, it's crazy.
How does that math?
I don't even know because I'm still 21, so I don't.
Exactly. You've been teaching since 5? Okay.
I know, right?
I mean, COVID also was 4 years. So
my gosh. No, it really was, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've had a weird teaching trajectory, too, going from like private studio to private school to parochial school to public school. So it's been a ride.
Yeah. So, and like, I think it would be cool for us to share. Again, it's a work night. It's just share like what are like 3 to 5 things we'd like to just share to the youths of our nation, and also just the people
in the
abroad.
Least condescending way that we could possibly be doing this.
Really, no, this
with
is
the caveat that we don't know what we're doing either.
This is from our perspective as teachers from Southern California, with our own which is very different than people on the East Coast, which is different than everything.
Right.
Who have been teaching for 9 to 16 years. So we just compiled like a list of just more than 3, but we'll probably like coalesce them in another probably a written blog post or something like the other ideas. But so what's your first bit? What's your wisdom to the youths?
Wisdom to the youths. If I could travel back in time and tell my younger self something that would save me a lot of time to figure out, I was thinking about the cyclical nature of the school year. And and the pattern that there is such optimism in summer. And then the beginning of the year is fresh energy, and we feel real good and we're going to do it right this year. And then usually there's just a slow slide down. Things get real rough right before winter break. They stay rough third quarter because it's just a weird quarter with all those holidays. And then right when you think, right when you're starting to Google other career choices in April, then all of a sudden there's a turn and things get better until the end of the year. And then you're back into the optimism of summer again and it starts all over. And I forget pieces of that every year. And I have to remind myself that that's how it is. It's like it really does follow that pattern, and it follows that pattern everywhere. Like your coffee really requires an extra shot of espresso in April every year. There's so many teacher memes on it. And it is a truth. And along with that, so I was trying really hard to stick to your 3 to 5 things, but it was really hard to stick to.
How many do you have in your mind?
Oh my God, so many.
12?
I could write a book. I could write so many things, but I was thinking along with that idea that we have this cyclical nature, guard your time and your energy. Because when you are in those pockets of time where you are full of optimism, especially as a music teacher, you tend to overcommit yourself. Like, we're going to do all these field trips and we're going to do all of these concerts. And then you're in the hard and you're like, oh my gosh, why did I say yes? And believe me, I am the queen of saying yes to more things than I should have. I really, really have a hard time saying no, especially when somebody phrases it like, I need you to XYZ. And this year, I think I'm doing like 3 committees. None of them are paid. Sorry, union. I did way too many concerts. It's just like one thing after another, and I am over capacity, especially with everything going on at home. And I mean, geez, if I could go back 8 months and just tell myself like, hey, you're in the middle of the optimism of summer and the optimism of the school year. You think you have all of this time and the hours might look like you do, but you really don't have the energy for this. And so what can we let go of? And release, and it's going to be okay. And it's okay. Somebody else will pick that up. You don't have to try to do it all. So yeah, everything feels really urgent when people are saying we really, really, really need. And then it's like, you can say no. Yeah.
Okay. I feel like mine is going to be the opposite.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. So I see. I think, and I think this goes into case that like there's so many facets into teaching, and like everyone has their different abilities. But I feel like I wrote mine down because again, brain.
It's end of the day teacher brain.
It's end of the teacher brain. End of the year teacher brain as well. For me, I think what I think of is that when we create programs, especially as us teachers who create our programs from scratch, we are constantly digging. We're constantly digging for the day that when rains eventually will come, and we want to make sure when the rains come that there is irrigation to our plants. And I find that there like these. This is for both, I feel like, young and also older teachers, that there is a necessity. Like, the good teaching takes hard work.
Oh my gosh,
Good teaching takes hard work. And I think about Josh Souther's episode.
Reach the pinnacle, really.
Yeah.
If you're a great teacher, you're always growing.
You're always growing. And I see so many teachers that, who are just talking about retirement.
Yeah.
Just talking about like, oh yeah, it's like, and just constantly like, okay, well, you already bleeped us once, so I'll bleep again. Constantly bitching. I'm sorry. Just constantly just talking about like this kid, and also this policy, this, and like, and the people, we lose sight of because of all the things that are thrown at us, we lose sight of what we are trying to do, and this takes a lot of hard work to make good programs, and especially if the program did not exist earlier. You say you're in 3 committees, and it's unfortunately like your capacity is limited.
Yes.
But also, unfortunately, those committees are needed as well. Like,
the committees are needed, and they're making decisions about funding for the school.
Yes, they are.
And my visibility and the reputation of the program directly relates to whether or not I will have a job in the future.
And so, like, even though there's a reason why you wanted to join. And I commend
there's
you for
reasons
that.
why I want to do all of it.
Right, exactly. And I think
it doesn't mean I can.
Because I see so many people who like see that and say, I don't want to be part of it, or I just want to focus on my own walls. I just want to do this. And also there's a recent and understandable push for us not to do work unless we're paid for it.
Yes.
And I think that we should constantly be fighting for fair pay.
Yeah.
But if fair pay doesn't exist, that doesn't mean we should not go for it.
Right.
And I think, and so when I say it's the opposite, it's not so much like you're wrong, more so like the other side of the coin, that like I've been thinking about this a lot, like this notion that we should be paid for good labor, but also we shouldn't just do work for pay.
Yeah.
Like, for example, people don't have kids just because they get paid for it. Like these.
I haven't seen that check show up yet.
I mean, technically there are tax elements to it, but like,
sure.
But like, that's the reason.
They're nothing.
And I think there's this weird and fine balance of us making sure that we don't pursue, like, we aren't teachers just because of pay. Because I know I would have taken a different job if it was because of pay. And we're here because we want to change things. And if things aren't there yet, and there's no pay for it, that doesn't mean we should just shy away from it. It means we should get together and work with other people to make sure that the thing we want, the thing we envision, becomes it.
I hear what you're saying, and I don't think that we're saying the opposite at all.
No, yeah.
I think that we're saying the same thing two different ways. And when I say guard your energy jealously, I'm not saying don't do all that stuff. I should have done one committee, you know, and I should have done maybe fewer concerts. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, yeah.
You know, like just funnel in on what is really the most important. What can you delegate?
Okay.
And what can you delete? Yeah, because you don't have to do all of it.
You don't have to do all of it. Yeah.
You don't. You don't. You can still make a big impact, and you should. And you absolutely should not be within your own four walls. You have to you have to be doing things for the good of the entire community.
Yes.
Your job as the music teacher is to help set the culture of the school.
And I think that's where, again, we often see the same thing from a different positionality, but we are still talking about the same thing.
If you're new around here, we throw down sometimes because we are very different people, and we're very different teachers. But we have the same heart. And I love that.
Yeah. And I think that's also the reason why we're sharing this microphone right now. Well, we have two microphones actually, but like
that would be a little too close.
I mean, we make do with what we got. I mean, that's the thing. Like, if you need to make do with what we got, I've got to make do with what we got. But ultimately, like, and so this statement wasn't towards you. This statement was more towards actually maybe not the youth. 'Cause I think I was talking with Mark about this notion of like young teachers have a lot of energy.
Yeah.
And the older we get, the more burnt out we get, or the more beaten down we get. And a lot of the times, and then when I go to the teacher's lounge, I just get frustrated with a lot of, this is only a couple of them, but like a lot of older teachers that just get tired and just talk about money and just talk about money and just talk about money. And just like.
And they say things about kids.
And they say terrible things about kids.
Yes.
And also, right now, another thing that's happening is there are 5 teachers that are likely to get let go.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we're
in the middle of budget cuts. Yeah, our site funds are slashed 50% for next year. And I know we were lucky.
Yeah.
A lot of schools saw. So, I mean, yay for raises, but we're now seeing.
That's the
other side of it.
But I mentioned this not to make everything sad, but also like these teachers are mentioning this stuff in front of teachers who want to be there and want to make change. And like, why are we talking about money?
Yeah.
When like in retirement, when you're going to be retired in 3 years, awesome. Congratulations.
Yeah.
More power to you. But like, there are these teachers that are hungry to make change for these kids. Like,
and don't kill their spirit.
Yeah. So I think again, I've said a lot of things, pedaling back, we're here and I think my words of wisdom is, whatever you want, a perspective you want to call it, but like my words are like, recognize that we are digging trenches and we might not see we might not see the rains that flow into the ground, into our fields. But I know one thing,
we're digging.
LEAD has changed the game.
Yeah. And
I know that my job is way easier because of LEAD, but if I did not have my after school programs, which I was not paid for 8 years, I don't like the inertia for me to create a program versus it's already there. Now like music can just you can go. It's just flow. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so there's a hard work that comes to it. I think again about.
And I I do want to like insert I couldn't do the after school programs like you did.
Yes.
And I still was able to build a program that helped fill those,
very much so,
those programs when they became available in after school. So you can be picky about your energy, and you can be discerning, I guess, to decide what it is that you need to funnel all of that energy into. You don't have to run yourself out.
But pick up a hoe.
Right.
Start
digging.
Like that's the thing. And like,
yeah,
even though again we see things on on a different position of the table, we're still at the same table, and we're still saying, hey, this stuff takes hard work.
It takes really hard work.
And like, again, I go back to the episode with Josh Southern, and he talking about like when he was a first year teacher, like there's just things like there was a lot of prep that just we don't really think about as a seasoned teacher. And for him to like, it took a lot of prep to get where he was, and similarly, it took a lot of prep to get where I was. I wish I did more prep, honestly, when I was younger.
Yeah, it's
and
true.
That way that it would just be easier. But like,
you'll save yourself a lot of time with your planning in the future if you take the time now to reflect. After you teach.
My next point.
Oh yeah, I had it written down too.
Okay. Yeah. I was gonna save it for the end actually, but share your thoughts.
Well, I mean, we can circle back around to it because I actually we intersected a lot of mine. Another one that I wrote down was know when to walk out of the room. When the conversation turns toxic, like when those people that you're talking about are just getting like the countdown to retirement, and the so and so did this, and can you believe that? And it's not leading anywhere productive. Like, what can we do to help this child? But it just is like, can you believe kids these days? And
I remember when I walked out specifically, and when a teacher started, they were complaining about the principal, like they were saying she gets paid this much, so shouldn't she be doing better?
No.
And like I said, this is like, sorry, this is not a conversation.
No,
this is just
you don't have to say anything.
I did not say anything. Like, there's nothing to say because their paradigm's already fixed.
Right.
And like,
I wasn't saying that to you.
I know.
I'm saying like, sorry, I wasn't trying to correct you. You do you, boo. But I'm saying like, if you are in the room and you feel the temperature shift, and you don't want to be associated with that. Yeah. Yeah.
I forgot who said it. Someone said like, emotion needs to be talked with emotion, and rationality needs to be talked with rationality. It's harder. So when someone is sharing emotions, sharing very high-powered emotions, you cannot talk to them in rational means.
Right.
And so
it's a different part of the brain.
Yeah, meaning emotional, meaning rational. Right. So if someone's being toxic, they're in their, oftentimes, not all the time, but they're in an emotional state. And if you try to bring reason to it, try to bring pushback, it's not necessarily going to make change. So, yeah.
It's true. It'll just drain you.
Yeah.
Or like, my grandma likes to say about trying to teach a pig to sing. It'll just waste your time and frustrate the pig.
I mean, there was some good singing, Babe.
It's true. That's true.
Question, have you seen Babe Pig in the City?
I have not.
Oh, okay. I have debates with my sister-in-law on this. She does not like it. I love it. I loved it. But again, also I recognize I saw it from a very younger perspective.
It's true. Well, maybe we'll have to have a watch party later and invite the listeners.
Let us know your thoughts.
I also wanted to add on to that one.
Sure.
So I said, know when to get up and walk away from a toxic conversation. And then the following one, only vent in safe places. The teacher's lounge is not a safe place.
It often is not.
It really, anybody can walk in.
Sure. I mean, you just gotta be aware of who's around you. But yes.
Anybody can hear on the other side of the door. The front office is not a safe place. You need to be with a trusted colleague behind closed doors. I wouldn't do it in the teacher's lounge. I just wouldn't. If you need to vent, because you've had a bad day about,
I guess it depends what the level of venting, but yeah. Sure.
I mean, if you're going to say anything about a kid or a colleague, like you better close the door and you better keep that locked down. And sure, sometimes we need a listening ear. I do it in a safe place.
No, that's fair. Yeah. I mean, ultimately, do it in a safe place.
Do it in a safe place with somebody that you trust and who won't tattle on you.
Know your people, yeah.
Yeah, know your people. Know who to trust. And also remember, work on your communication skills. Like, talk to people. Always assume positive intent. If somebody is hurting your feelings, I think that as adults, we have to know how to put our own feelings aside and work stuff out with each other. Like if you have an issue with a colleague, you need to talk to that colleague. So
if we expect that from our kids, like, why don't we place in our own actions?
Yeah, we tell the kids all the time not to run and tattle on each other and to not escalate it to a fight, and that they need to have good communication with each other. You assume positive intent always. This is not an easy job. And some days we go into survival mode, and some days we don't react the way that we wish we did. And
that goes into my first point. I'm jumping around here.
Yeah.
Find it really, so there's a point A and point B. I'll stick my point A and point. Find a community. That's this is a lot of my thoughts actually, as I read a lot of this is actually not geared towards younger teachers. It's actually geared towards people of all ages. But the first part, I recognize, find a community and also recognize that we don't just teach in our four walls. If you listen to me speak on this podcast, I've said this so many times, we do not just teach in our four walls. We teach to a body of people, and the interactions that we have with other people affect how we are in the classroom. And so it's foolish for us to just think that, I'm just here to teach my kids. No, we are our kids are going to go back to the general ed classrooms, and then they're going to go back into the outer world. So so for that very reason, first off, actually backpedal. First off, talking about learning interpersonal skills. Yep. Talk to people.
Soft skills.
Because, I also have, soft skills is a weird term. I know we both probably have the same view on this, but regardless.
It's not the perfect term, but if you're going to Google something because you need to work on your communication skills, you need to Google soft skills. That's what it is. So, yeah.
And
learn about the drama triangle. That's a good one. Yeah, the drama triangle. It just talks about how you can get into arguments with people and where you can go, and people tend to either want to be the hero and rescue, or they want to be the victim, or you can be a coach. And there's a dark side to all of them. There's a light side to all of them, and you need to just get out of the triangle. You need to recognize when you're in a drama triangle so you can rise above it and coach yourself out of it. It's good stuff. I should give a workshop on it. Really, it's really good stuff. I will get you more stuff. If you would like to hear an episode about soft skills and, navigating the emotional landscape of work, I'm really passionate about that. And I've done a lot of personal development in that area. So I would love to talk more about that later, but I definitely want to prepare a little better before I get into that stuff. That's good though.
But so recognize that we are, especially as a music teacher who teaches every single kid in every single classroom,
you're always modeling.
And you got to work with the adults.
Yes.
You got to work with everyone, and not just even teachers, admin outside of your school, because it's all interconnected. And so, and then on top of that, finding a community so that you aren't feeling alone. I feel like that's something that's evident with every single teacher, but specifically younger teachers.
Well, because this job is overwhelming.
It's overwhelming. Yeah.
It takes all of your time. And when you buy into that idea that this is your mission in the world, I guess, which I very much feel that way. If you buy into it a little too hard, it can become your entire personality. Sure. I really appreciated Kirsten and Oberой's talking to that point in her episode. It was last season. It was a really excellent interview with Jonathan, and I encourage you to go back and listen to it if you haven't heard that one. And she talked about how important it is to go find friends who are outside of the music teacher community. And I mean, I needed to hear it at the time. And it's hard to make friends outside of your job because we spend Saturdays at workshops. We travel for conferences. If you're really committed to growing as a music teacher, you tend to commit yourself to a lot of free time doing these things. And then we invite people to do things like come watch us teach. And we think that that's normal. And I now have, a lot of other friends outside of this profession. And I would never ask. I think she talked about her nurse friend. She would never go want to watch her friend nurse.
Friend and her computer friend.
Yes.
Doing computer things.
Right? I would never want to go hang out with my healthcare worker friend and watch her manage her healthcare team.
But also, I think that's really important.
Yeah.
Definitely important. And I think it's important for maybe a middle teacher. But for younger teachers, I think they don't really. I was just gonna say they. I'm sorry, it feels very condescending. But oftentimes, I remember when I was a younger teacher.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like I I felt very out of place when I was in workshops and I didn't really connect with the people. There are other music teachers. So even a younger base, like there are other music teachers that want to help.
Yeah,
one of the biggest graces when I was talking with Michael Gray and Andrea Levitt. And both of them were, Andrea especially, but both of them were teachers that had more seasoned years behind them. And they wanted to help out. And there are people that want to help out. We want to help out.
We do.
Not just seriously. Like
we do. If you reach out and you ask us for anything, you will have it immediately.
Exactly.
We're both open books.
Yes. When we respond to emails, but but like actually just IG me. Seriously, that's probably a faster way. But like seriously, like there are people who want to help out as much as we need to balance ourselves to make sure that we are more whole set people.
Yeah.
Also, when you're first starting out, reach out to people and try to find communities that want to help you.
And find teachers that you admire. And you have to take that on yourself to go find it.
Yeah.
It's not going to land in your lap. And nobody knows how to help you unless you ask.
Very much so.
Everybody struggles at the beginning, and we all struggle with our own different parts of it. And so you need to take the initiative.
So Crystal's phone number
not giving that out on the air.
555.
But you can reach us at chaoticharmonyclassroom@gmail.com. Yep.
Seriously. Send us an email. And again, send me a message through at Mr. Seligman. I'll respond faster that way. But
or at CH Classroom on Instagram. We'll get back to you. Yep, that goes to both of us.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
There's some other there's a lot of points. Like one thing I really important, like don't gatekeep. Do not gatekeep.
Don't get into a clique.
Well, I'm talking
I'm
talking specifically for students, actually, for education.
Okay.
Do not think that just because that a student is not responding well means they are not interested. Secondly, do not think that if a student wants to be a part of your group, but they don't meet your quote unquote standard of what good music is, then they should not be part of your group. I had a relative of mine. She was a part of a private institution and she played violin and, she was not allowed to be in the orchestra because her violin was not of a certain wealth bracket.
Oh my God. I just want to throw
And so
up.
it showcased that she was not committed enough to be a part of a real, quote unquote, prestigious group.
Well, how many of us were put into boxes in college? Hi.
All of us were. Even people who thrived in their universities, there were still boxes they can still tear, they still see.
Yeah.
But
and it still hurts.
Yeah, it does. So like, don't do that to your students. Don't do that also to your coworkers as well. Like
that's true.
Just because
everybody's growing, everybody's changing.
Just don't. I find, especially for an elementary school, auditions aren't. Why?
Yeah. If somebody wants to be there, then it's your job it's your job to find a place for them.
Yeah. All people, like music should be accessible to all people.
I agree.
Straight up.
I agree.
The arts, all learning, accessible to all people.
And I also think that it's our job to figure out how to help our more accelerated students continue to grow and be challenged, but you don't have to do that by separating everybody. And it's harder to teach that way.
It is hard.
It is way harder to teach that way, to let everybody in and still have an end product that everybody's proud of, but you can do it. You can do it. And if you don't know how, go to your ORF workshops and find your people. If you're at an elementary level, honestly, it is the best way to teach yourself how to scaffold. So, and that also goes into you continuing to develop as a musician, so you can understand how the music is built from a foundational level, so that you can then break it apart and you can give somebody a skill appropriate job.
It's important that we're constantly learning.
Yes.
And I think, I know we're adding more stuff to your plate right now.
So much. I know.
Of the youths, but still. No,
so I'll give a real example. So we're doing ukuleles, right? And I've got some kids who can finger pick all day long and they love it. They're just like living for learning how to pick out melodies. There are some kids who are so overwhelmed by that idea. So I'm making sure everything is in the scale of C and or the key of C, and all some of them can do is just get a nice little board dune going on. C, G, C, G, top two strings. That's all you need. No fingers down. That's it. Lego hand in your left hand, and then finger pick. C, G, C, G, and then if they're part of the active music making, and the people who need to take it further can take it further, but nobody is sitting there bored.
I remember before COVID, I had an advanced choir and I had auditions. And I remember it was one, like, there was only a couple of kids that, only a handful of kids auditioned. And there were a couple of kids I decided I'm going to stick to X amount of students. And there were students that I decided that just didn't meet the cut. And it's like, I look back on that. It's like, man, like, they just wanted to be there.
Yeah.
They just want, and like, would it have been a weaker choir? I guess, sure.
Maybe
like weaker in some sort of metric. But would that student have found her voice more? Yeah. Yeah. And also, like, speaking of finding voices, like, my other point, as I open up my phone.
We don't leave kids out.
Yeah. People matter.
People matter.
I go back to that quote that Dan Nelson said, it's all relational. And like, it's people matter arguably more than the content we teach. And I think about, like, Alice Soy, I've referenced her a lot. But like, she's mentioned in an interview like that she sees herself less as a music teacher, and I forget what she used in that interview, but like, and I'm sorry, Alice, forgive me. But it was like, from an outside perspective, I know that she sees herself as someone who uplifts others.
Yeah.
And we as teachers as a whole, but as like should I say, especially music teachers, but the teachers as a whole, our job is to uplift people. And if we are not doing that, if the content gets in the way of uplifting other people, what are we doing? Yeah. So yeah, that's I feel like that's the probably of all the bullet points I have to give to anyone.
That's the most important.
People matter.
People matter.
People matter.
Yeah, that pretty much says it all. You matter, your students matter, your colleagues matter, and walk around like those things are true, and lead from a place of love and esteem. And if you do that first, and you remember to keep that in mind, everything else tends to fall into place.
I think about the very beginning of our conversation, before this whole talk of this show, we're talking about like behaviors. And I think about that as teachers, or rather a lot of kids manners are just weird. Manners right now are just like everywhere. I mean, maybe manners is the wrong term. Behavior is just all over the place.
I think manners is a good word for it, because it's that knowing how to act appropriately in certain places with certain groups. Denotatively,
yes. I think there's a connotation with there, but overall, yes, I agree.
All right.
But the thing is, like,
I love manners. Please and thank you.
Thank you.
It's a decent handshake, John.
Learn from my pops. Actually, I learned also from my 5th grade teacher, who was very insistent on making sure. Give a strong handshake. I'm not going to. Mine went somewhere else. Your principal, my former coworker, she had thoughts on my former 5th grade teacher because you worked with him for a bit. Regardless, you can talk to her about that.
Oh, okay. Good to know.
But yeah, so the thing is, like, behaviors are everywhere, and I think about what I just said earlier, the notion like people matter more than our content, I'd say.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And like,
you have to feel safe before you can learn.
Yeah. Well, but all that plus also, I think about my choir recently. We're working on the song by Sleeping at Last called "You Are Enough," and we started doing affirmations. And like, when we started talking about affirmations, I saw how few people raised their hands. And there were the kids who did raise their hands. They have worked with our behavior specialist. I think actually I really do want to bring on this podcast. She's amazing. But yeah, like, how many people actually say good things themselves? And I think if we, I think we love music not because it follows the don't follow parallel fifths rule, or because, you know, whatever. Like, it's not just because we let her jam in our car. It's because our emotions are filled. Our emotions are met. And if we're doing that, man, we're not necessarily teaching all. Careful, John. But if we do that, then I think that is fulfilling the case. If we're teaching kids how to be good kids through music, I think we're teaching the standards by then. Oh,
absolutely. And it gets inside of them in a way that will never leave them.
Yeah.
They will always remember those lessons. I think I've got one more thing.
Go for it.
I feel like we've done a good job bringing it home, but this is important. Write down the funny kid quotes and have a bad day file. So anytime a kid gives you a little, note or something that just makes you warm and happy inside, you know? Anytime somebody says something cute, keep a file, write it down. And when you have those rough days, which I've had a lot of lately, I have a file that I can go through that's now 16 years of little moments of joy. And I'm so glad I have that. And then I send a little bit of love and light out to the kiddos who wrote those to me. Some of them are all grown up now, you know, and it's special. So hang on to those little sparks of joy.
Yeah. As I mentioned again, this job's tough. So hold on to the good.
But it's worth it. And we really do. Yeah. We make a difference. We do. It matters. It matters deeply. That's what keeps me in it year after, even though this job is insane. And therefore, I must be insane for doing it. But it really matters. It makes a big difference. Yeah.
Hold on to the small. Hold on to the positive joys.
Yes.
Small joys. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, you hold on too, because we will be back with Spiccato
after the break.
I want to take a quick break and thank my husband, Bryan, who's been working behind the scenes producing these episodes every week on all of the platforms and on time. But you need to know that he is first a financial planner for Mission Trails Financial. Mission Trails Financial is a partner that seeks to guide clients in the journey to financial success. They believe that people need a financial advisor that aims to provide strategies for success. Mission Trails Financial helps people navigate investments, tax planning, and insurance. Imagine working with an advisor who isn't tied to specific brands. Mission Trails Financial has a fiduciary responsibility to act in the best interests of their clients by providing independent, objective advice. Their mission is to help clients accomplish their financial goals. As Joe Vitale once said, a goal should scare you a little and excite you a lot. Do yourself a favor and set up a time to chat with Mission Trails Financial. Visit www.missiontrailsfinancial.com or call 619-419-0238 to schedule a call. You'll be glad you did. We believe that leaning on professionals is how we get ahead. Check out the program notes for more information.
And we're back.
I don't know why I get that pregnant pause. We're back. But before that, we are left. And also right. Maybe right sometimes.
And I'm going to take the wheel on this one because I never do.
Go for it.
Friends, I'm going to get straight with you here. We haven't had a review in a year, and we love you, and we know that we haven't exactly been the most consistent of posters, but we would really appreciate it if this podcast means something to you and you haven't taken the time to go on Apple and give us a review, or on Spotify and give us a review. It really actually makes a big difference to this community. It helps us attract sponsors. It helps us keep the lights on and keep this thing going.
Literally.
So actually though, and it really does make a difference for us. So if you could just it only takes 5 seconds to go hit 5 stars for us and give us a little love, we would genuinely appreciate it.
And whether or not you watch this on YouTube, also help us out there. Just click the like, hit
subscribe,
and you'll be seeing our lovely faces on it a lot.
Oh, so,
yeah.
So cute.
Also, if you would like to toss us a buck, it would be nice. That Patreon is still up. Patreon.com/CHClassroom. We do, there are low level tiers where you can constantly just help us out. Because remember, this is just a 2-person,
even $1 a month
duo. Yeah. And
$5 a month, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever works for you and your budget.
We will accept it.
We will accept it and be grateful for it.
And if you do go to $10 a month, there is merch that is there for you. So we would love to give to you shirts,
totes, bags,
totes my goats,
all the goodies.
So please check that out. It would be great. And lastly, as we mentioned earlier, if you have any questions, just message us. CarmenClassroom@gmail.com.
Yes. We'd be happy to hear from you.
Indeed.
I have a Spiccato. I was given, people just give you stuff, right? When you teach in the arts. I had a neighbor give me a ton of old origami paper. So these are the plain colors. I also have stacks and stacks of like florals. And so I have been kind of flipping through it and wondering if I could use it in music class. And I think I could. What would you do with a whole bunch of colored origami papers?
And to those unaware, these are like 8x8. Almost.
Yeah, they're like little 8x8 squares. You think it's 8 or would it be 6?
No, it's definitely not 8. It's like
I think that's 6.
4x4, maybe.
I don't know. Watch it be 5x5. I don't know what it is. It's inches, small squares. Okay, they're squares.
Let's see. I think one thing that comes to mind, because these are all different colors. We got green,
they're bright colors.
pink, orange. First thing that comes to mind is like a kid walks on a colored tile. And that activates something.
Oh, like a video game.
Kind of like a video game, yeah. I think about Malia shared back when I was on the polo. It's been a while. But it's true. When a kid walks in a colored square, kids hits a certain kind of bar.
Yep.
So there's that. Or it could be a sound effect. It could be anything you want, but a certain trigger happens when you step on a colored plate.
Like green would be G, and then red would be C, and you'd have some kids on xylophones, then one kid is the conductor, so they would step on a square, and then whatever that was the trigger for happened.
Exactly.
I like that. So it's like conductors, and you're watching the conductor. I think that's a cute idea.
Yeah.
I was remembering back when we did in high school, I think it was an Eric Whitaker piece. It was about birds, and at the end we all had a piece of paper, and it was just at our side. You couldn't see it. And then we all flapped the paper at the end, and it sounded like birds taking off. It was really cool. It was a really neat effect.
Right now we're working on Who Can See the Wind.
That's such a good song.
It is a good song.
It's so pretty on recorder.
Have we done that yet?
Who has seen the wind?
I think we did with
Neither
Victoria.
you nor I.
I can't remember. I think we did actually. But
when trees bow down their heads, the wind is passing by.
I've changed the words so many times just because I didn't remember the words were. So
God,
folk music.
Keep it OG.
What is OG with folk?
Written by...
Oh, am I wrong?
Is that Grace Nash?
Oh, let's figure this out.
Carole King?
I'd hate to be like chastised by the peeps.
Oh, I know. Well, it's an Orff person, and she's still with us. I just took her recorder workshop. I think it's Grace. I could be wrong.
No, the text is by Christina Rossetti.
Oh.
So it's not folk, but it could be adapted musically by an Orff.
Okay.
So still not folk, but I'm sure it's actually... When did she exist?
When did she exist?
I mean, actually, it's probably public domain by now.
I imagine.
1830, yeah, dude. Public domain. Folk. It's folk, okay? It's folk.
I mean, sure.
Christina, you got nothing on me, okay?
Okay.
But regardless, so I'm just...
we're gonna put a pin in that and get back to you guys.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
No, we
or
need
you can also just correct us.
That's an important one. We know when to give credit where it's due.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
I didn't know this one would
or you could have that
pop
little
up.
message us because they need messages more, so just like correct us.
Okay, it's fine. It's fine. Okay, moving on.
But yeah,
Who has seen the wind is lovely.
We're working on that, and kids are playing the recorder, but also we're doing sound effects as well.
Oh,
and having sound. I'm really trying to lean into soundscapes more, and so.
We do a whole activity with that where we're playing it on recorder. Oh, look at you. He's blowing on the piece of paper now. You're trying to turn it into a...
I'm sure people in the car are hating me right now.
Oh, totally. So right now when we play that song on recorder, we angle the recorders at a person and then they have to react like they're getting blown by the wind. So if the recorder's pointed to their hand blows away.
Ooh,
it's a fun one.
I like that.
Mm-hmm. So origami papers.
Yeah, let us know.
Let us know. What would you do with a whole bunch of origami papers?
I mean, we got a whole bunch, like literally a whole bunch.
Also, there's instructions online to fold origami eighth notes.
Oh, okay.
They're cute. I had my kids do them as a station. Yeah.
Cool. Which we talked about stations the last
We
episode.
did talk about stations, and they are now decorating my walls. They came out cute.
Mm-hmm. Are they going the right way, the right direction?
Yes, I insisted.
I
had an example.
Liberty Station. That one area where the music notes are backwards. Like, bruh, you couldn't have just gotten someone else to hire. Oh gosh.
Well, yeah, like come on, double check that stuff, you guys. Yeah, and I tell the kids all the time. It's like if you wrote a W upside down, what would it be? It'd be an M, right? It's a different thing. It's a different letter. It's a different symbol. You have to write it correctly.
But a note backwards, not even anything. It's just dumb.
I know. It's just dumb. It's just wrong.
It's wrong.
Rewrote the M sideways. Like
out.
Get out. We do have a round of the week. Round of the week.
Cool. Let's do it.
Yeah. Okay. So this is Frere Jacqus.
Frere Jacqus.
In a minor key.
Oh, a minor key.
Frere Jacqus, Frere Jacqus, dormez-vous, dormez-vous, sonnez les matinas, sonnez les matinas, din din don, din din don.
Frere Jacqus, dormez-vous, dormez-vous,
sonnez les matinas, sonnez les matinas, din din don, din din don.
You're really activating my bass notes there.
I know, sorry. I'm really feeling my alto today.
It's, again, a weeknight.
The allergies be real this year, too.
Yes.
Yes.
Ah, that's cool. Okay,
yeah.
okay.
That's kind of fun.
Yeah.
I think you could change the words.
Oh, yeah. I mean, again, folk.
It's like Brother John died.
I remember...
Old Abram Brown is dead and gone. Old Brother John is dead and gone. You'll never see him more.
I don't know what I did to this person where I'm always like being chastised. Like,
John, I know.
What's going on here?
It's
Come on, Crystal.
I know.
Okay. Cool. Also, friends, if you have some rounds, we'd love to hear your thoughts. I know you've been hearing our lovely rounds, but tell us which round do you want to sing.
Share them.
Yeah. Cool. Where can they do you can share us at where?
You can find me on Instagram at Mrs.Pridmore.
Awesome. You find me at Mr. Seligman, MrSeligman on all the socials. And also us at CH Classroom. Also, as I said earlier, email us, please. We're desperate. Kind of.
chaoticharmonyclassroom@gmail.com. And leave us a review, like and subscribe, all the things.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye.
The Chaotic Harmony podcast is a joint project between Crystal Pridmore and Jonathan Seligman. You can find us online at chaoticharmonyclassroom.com. You can email us at chaoticharmonyclassroom@gmail and let us know what you think. Give us feedback about what you would like to hear in future episodes. We're on all the socials. Find us on facebook.com/chaoticharmonyclassroom. You can find us on Twitter at @CHClassroom, Instagram at Chaotic Harmony Classroom, and you can even find our episodes on YouTube. Chaotic Harmony is the name of our channel. Special thanks to Bryan Pridmore for his help with production and equipment. www.pridmoria.com.